Namaste, fellow yogis. Welcome to your practice. This is a practice of being sovereign. What does that mean? It means being in your truth. So let's sit together and get this party started. So, whatever way you wish to sit yourself. The yoga practice is a mindful practice of being in the moment, moving the breath cognizantly, consciously to dispel fear and any disease, as well as moving the physical body mindfully, knowing your muscles from a mental neural connection. Okay, so this is really important. A lot of us do not have yet that neural connection. So if you could put your arm out and literally just reach it out, and then from the middle fingers or the fingers, connect into the humeral bone, into your shoulder region, and then contract your muscles and feel those muscles. That's like a hugging in, like you're giving yourself a big hug. You'll feel those muscles contract, and then you can mentally release them. So that's what yoga is. It's about, yes, that antagonist, protagonist. You're pressing and you're drawing in, hugging yourself and grounding yourself and breathing mindfully. That's the difference between just, I don't want to say mindless exercise, but sometimes people are just like throwing themselves around and wondering why they've injured their joints. Not a judgment, an observation. So today's practice, we're going to tap into what it is to balance the pelvis, to hug yourself and ground yourself at the same time. Exhale mindfully and not taking for granted the very now moment of cognizance and consciousness, of being present and feeling your muscles slowly in each one that you're working. Okay, so less is more, slowing down is everything, and being present. So let's begin this practice with a vibrational frequency, which is the sound of Om, love, consciousness. Okay, so as you're seated yourself comfortably, and remember, anything that I invite or offer and it doesn't resonate with you, just compost it. I am here just to truly celebrate the light. I am the point of the light, just like you are. Okay, so the sound of Om is Ah, O, M. Sitting comfortably, let's just bring your hands together. You can massage them first. Sometimes I just love massaging the base knuckles because it feels so good. And then giving your hands something to do, which is a mudra known as Anjali Mudra, prayer, connection, yoking. And as we do that, closing your eyes is an option. And I highly suggest getting comfortable with doing that so that you could tap into the pineal gland. Some people say pineal. Into your mind's eye, grounding yourself, turning off the external world because it can be quite obtuse, and giving yourself permission just to be here now. So just take a couple of breaths here, really being cognizant of the in-breath, the fullness of your lungs, and the out-breath, the beautiful surrender, the releasing of that out-breath, letting go, the surrendering, the cleansing, the purging. And then let's do a nice clearing breath in and out together. And then one beautiful, fantastical Om, deep breath in. And inviting yourself back into the space by blinking your eyes open, releasing your hands, and let's continue on. If you have any questions or concerns around sounding, oming, chanting, send me an email. I'm here to educate. So right now, make sure you have your yoga stuff, blanket, blocks. I am introducing slowly anyone who wants to go a little further, that have been practicing for a while, that know their alignment. So please do not go past where you have yet not begun. Alignment is everything. Your attitude, how you align, and how you take action. So I do have some weights. I might introduce those today or not. First things first, let us connect with the breath once again after you've assembled all of your great stuff around your mat. Make sure you have a sacred space where it's already there. So you just click on it, away we go. So for now, it's the belly breathing, it's the mindfulness of the exhalation that is so important. So I've been introducing a new breath. Well, it's not a new breath, it's been around forever. It's a simply grounding ourselves from sympathetic fear and flight into parasympathetic, which is rest and digest. We use both breaths, not breaths, during all practices. Sometimes you're in a quelling moment, sometimes you're more in an advantageous movement and being, aggressive. Perfect. So the quick 2 sips of breath like this is more of a sympathetic, and the is a grounding parasympathetic. Technically speaking, that's just in the layman's terms. We want both systems active, yet one overpowers the other in any given time. We do need to rest and digest and not be in such a fear and flight, which is sympathetic. So this is the breath to calm and quell at the beginning and end of a class. So 2, I don't want to say quick or harsh breaths in, but 2 cognizant breaths in. They're shorter, and then a really long exhalation, like really long. The longer you can go without feeling like you're losing your breath, and then you're wrapping your shoulders up around your ears. Great breath practice. Eyes closed, eyes open, focused eyes. You can exhale that exhalation through the mouth if you wish. So there's a practice, and anytime you get anxious and you're in your head thinking all kinds of things and you're not present in your exercise or in your postures, then please mindfully do that practice and give yourself a break. Breath practice, so important to breathe into the fullness of your lungs and dispel it from the diaphragm, okay? No matter what breath choice you're doing. I'd like to begin in a full leg extension first of all, and really cognizantly move into the diaphragm and the gut. So we are going to begin with part B, the abdominals. So stretch your legs out off your bolster or chair, whatever you're sitting on, and let's smooth ourselves all the way down onto the mat. And you can tell I've been just sleepy, tired, but not sleeping, which is not very fun. So I do look a little, and this practice will probably awaken me and balance me out, because that's what this is all about. So for those that are extending their legs but their back does this, bend your knees and find an upright position through your spine. Another thing I find is that a lot of us are moving our neck's extension and flexion way too much. So I like to use a tennis ball size ball, or these are tune-up balls, place it at the very throat notch, and then tuck your chin in and broaden the collarbone, and that keeps your neck neutral, because what we're going to move through is spreading of the toes, rooting through the 4 points of your feet, meaning heels, big ball mound, baby ball mound. And as you lift your heart and extend through the crown of the head, neutral spine, we're going to squeeze from the peripheral fingers and toes and scoop now the tailbone into flexion. So when you begin with your knees bent, keep your spine tall. Then as we begin to scoop the tailbone, curving the spine in a perennial curve, the legs will straighten. The legs will drag, but keep them solid as you vibrate and roll yourself one vertebra, cognizant of the hugging in of the muscles, right to the broad strap, back of the shoulder blades, and back up again. I prefer not to use this. So really finding where you need to be in this. So we're hugging in from peripheral, fingers and toes, into the very core, and practicing that coring in while we breathe. So that's an in-breath and perhaps an exhale. Or this is an inhale, and this becomes your exhale. I prefer to, when we flex it, it's an exhale because you're squeezing in, and when you lean back and open up your front body, that's an in-breath. So playfully move through your roots of your feet, inner spiraling your inner thighs, using the tone of your belly and rolling your spine into extension, neutral spine, into flexion. Okay, so really practicing that. Your legs will drag, and you might lose your yoga pants. This is not about rushing, meaning they drag and you lose your yoga pants. So doing this a couple more rounds, really present in the breath. So this is like, for me, this is a okay. I know some of you are feeling at the beginner state of this, that you are not quite aware of all those beautiful muscles. So be patient with yourself. Another great tool for doing this practice is to squeeze a block between your feet and your hands or your inner thighs to keep yourself grounded, to squeeze into something that really hugs you in. So some of us do need to have a bit of a grip through a peripheral or inner thighs, meaning feet, hands, or inner thighs. And then once we've done several of those, we're going to stop and take a deep breath as you sit yourself up, bending your knees. And then we're going to swing the legs to the back side of the mat. And some of you have tender knees. For whatever reasons, you could use your yoga blanket and not like a pillow. You want it to be smooth. So very important to slow down. We will start in a tabletop on the knees, on all fours, hands as wide as your yoga mat, pinky finger off the mat, rooting down through the base knuckles of each finger, especially the index finger and thumb. Suction cup the palm of your hands up so you're hugging from the hands into the back of your heart as you press the floor away. Knit the belly button in towards the back of the spine so you're not doing one of those sway backs. That's a huge issue with most people. Draw the belly button in to lengthen the spine and keep it neutral. From here with your toes curled under, and that's another issue for most people, is to bring your feet into flexion through the toes, dorsiflexion. So I understand, just keep on practicing. So as you find your tabletop, we're going to hover those knees up off the floor and feel the pressing of the floor away with the hands and the tone of the belly and keeping your neck neutral. So you're looking straight down to the mat for another 5 more seconds. Really feeling the breath. Remember, it's about the breath, common denominator. And then lowering your knees and sit back on your toes. Feel those toes. I massage feet every day. It's where we begin our roots, our foundation, and a lot of people have really stifled toes, meaning they're stuck. So once again, tabletop, hover the knees, secure the belly button, extend through the crown of the head, and giving yourself a nice count. Turn your elbow creases to face your index fingers and thumbs for about 10 count. Really feeling the power of your body, pressing the floor away and hugging it into the midline. When you're ready to release the knees, sit back onto your toes again. High toes. It does feel really good. I know some of you are sensitive, so just be kind. One more of those. So at your own pace, and that's the thing with doing online is that sometimes you want to slow down, sometimes you want to speed it up. The good news is if you set yourself up successfully, you are able to do that with the click of a button. Slowing down is a greater option only because without judgment discernment is that we do need to slow down. So that was about 3 rounds. Now we're going to play with the balancing in the pelvis. So tabletop, connect with your breath, extend through the crown of the head, and then extending the left leg straight back through the balls of that foot. Keeping your pelvis neutral, toning that belly button in, and then hovering that left leg without swaying in your back. Keep your neck neutral, press through the balls of the feet, and that's where we elevate now, excuse me, the right arm. So for me, taking the right arm out perpendicular to the shoulder, making sure I don't lose that back, that neutral spine, so not dipping the belly and swaying the hips out somewhere funny. So think about lengthening, hugging in first and then lengthening out. So about 5 more seconds, just really feeling where you are in your balance and imbalance. So you gotta lift that inner left thigh up towards the sky to keep that hip neutral. Then releasing the left knee, securing yourself. You could sway around through a cat-cow in your lumbar spine and your thoracic spine. So this is where we do move the spine. It's so incredible, this spine. So let us care for it. So you're moving into lower dot curve, thoracic spine movement, all of the movements of the spine sideways. And then pausing once again and securing your spine neutrally. And then extending the right leg straight back. I love doing this because I can massage, lengthening my calf muscles. There's 2, soleus and gastrocnemius, so they get really gnarled up. So give that a little massage by revving up through the balls of your foot. And then when you're ready, we're going to lift through the inner right thigh, squaring the hips, keeping the tone of the belly. So a lot of people lift the hip up and turn it out like a dog peeing on a fire hydrant and see what happens to my spine in the bird's eye. We want to keep everything nice and long and aligned for reasons. We're hugging in and using those inner muscles through the inner thigh, the toning of the belly, internal external obliques, transverse, all of those abdominal muscles, and finding length like a rocket ship. So in the circus world or in any gymnastics, these people are so in tune with each muscle, not just the big ones, the little ones. And then when you're ready, you're going to release that right knee, sit back on both toes. Oh, I forgot to take the left arm out, but we'll get there. So finding alignment, slowing it down. Okay, let's do that again, left side. Tabletop, knit belly, extend head, left leg straight back through the ball mounds of the foot first, then elevate without swaying your lower back. Right arm goes out, and you can move that right hand wherever you need it to be to find your balance. I like to touch my sacrum and really get into that. And then releasing the right hand, lower the left knee, immediately move into the right leg. Toning the belly, extending through the crown of the head, lifting through the inner right thigh, and releasing the left arm out. And noticing where the muscles have to kick in to create this balanced action. Tiny movements. This is a physiotherapy, literally it is. Feeling that energy. Where do you need to park a little bit more effort into it? Like do a little bit more. And as a beginner, we will find those places to be really, take a lot of energy. And then when you're ready to release the left hand and right knee, sit back on your toes, voila. You're starting to feel your pelvis here. Okay, so now what I'd like to invite everyone to do is to similarly do that, but differently. Watch, you'll see what I mean. Extending your left leg straight out, pressing the floor. We're gonna hover the right knee now. Keeping that, so you may have to reassess that left foot. So it's just the right knee first. Then you're going to pick up the right toes, keeping your neutral spine, neck, and lower back, and then extend that right leg straight back as you squeeze your inner thighs and reach out through the crown of the head for another 5. You count down because it's up to you. And breathing that breath, if you need to lower that knee, then go for it, but it's all about a practice squeezing those inner thighs. Then when you're ready to lower the right knee and the left knee, tabletop, you could do a little cat-cow, because we're going to move on to the other side. So from here now, extending the right leg straight back, hovering the left knee up off the floor, extending through the crown of the head. You've got it. Press the floor away, knit that belly button in, then lifting up through the toes as well and extending, keeping the tone of the belly and reaching through the crown of the head, extend that left leg straight back. So you're getting more connected to those inner thigh muscles. Oh, you've got it. Press the floor away, keep your elbow creases facing your index finger and thumb, and when you're ready to release the right knee, left knee together simultaneously, sit back onto your toes. Are you feeling it? Are you getting it? This all leads up to something more, say, expansive, but we must begin first, and do not go past where you have not already begun, so you must begin, okay? Tabletop, left leg straight back, hover the right knee. This time we're going to extend the right leg straight back, land it next to the left foot. Now we're in plank. Knit the belly button in, extend through the crown of the head, press the floor away with your hands, turn your elbow creases to face the index finger and thumb, and reach through the crown of the head by knitting in that belly button. You've got it. And counting down. So slowing it down and really feeling the isometrics. Press back through the heels, lengthen that tailbone, press that floor away. Good. And then lower right knee, left knee, sit back onto your toes. You're getting this, aren't you? Once again, tabletop, and of course, wrists play into a factor. If you don't have extension, you can always email me questions about that. But remind yourself, you are here to educate yourself. I can only lead you to the water. You must drink it. So now let's move into the other side. So if we're lifting and hovering that right knee and extending the left leg, so we're just playing back with those knees. For a person that's beginning, if you feel this is a bit much, you can lower both knees and then lift them simultaneously, or going back and forth, so that you can really feel and graduate to the strengthening of lifting up in plank. Regardless, we're in plank, the tailbone's lengthening towards your heels, you're extending through the crown of the head. Now we're going to lift the hips and move into downward facing dog, bending the knees and lifting the heels. So this is flexion of the arms, and a lot of us don't have that, so you may have to come more forward, but turn your elbow creases towards your index fingers and thumbs and keep the base knuckles down as you blossom your bum and lengthen the crown of the head towards your thumbs. I see this in studio practice. A lot of people, even though they've been doing down dog for maybe a decade or more, they still aren't quite present in the idea that when down dog translates into a full Tadasana, but in a forward fold looking like that.
So it's so important for all of us to get the structures, meaning your attitude and aligning. So your downward facing dog is full flexion of your upper body, and literally your hip flexors are flexing. So this is towards a handstand. So wobble your hips from side to side, pressing that floor away, turning your elbow creases to face your index finger and thumb, and breathe that breath. So now we're going to move it into in-breath plank, full extension of the front body, exhale, flexion of the front body into down dog. So it's all about strengthening. And another thing that's really important is that you're drawing your hands and feet towards each other as opposed to pushing them away from each other. So you're constantly working your hands and feet towards each other as if you were doing this practice on two blankets separately, one underneath your hands and one underneath your feet. And I would dare you to do that, and then you'll know what I'm talking about. So in-breath to plank, exhale to your down dog. And that is the practice. When you're ready to exhale, slowly lower your shins, your knees to the floor, sit back for a moment, and breathe that breath, because we're going to continue on and make it more of a, say, a little bit more effort, or a lot more effort, to find your balance now standing in it, okay? So from here, tabletop, knees underneath hips, toes curled under, hover the knees for 5, 4, 3, 2, extending your legs straight back into plank pose for 5, lift those inner thighs, tailbone lengthens, crown the head forward, and then exhaling to your down dog. And once you're in that down dog, we're gonna bend and extend and playfully move, because just because we're learning alignment and staying in that alignment doesn't mean we cannot play. So once you find your playful down dog, we're gonna come up onto those left finger pads to strengthen the wrist and lift that left leg and circumvent it, like a dog peeing on a fire hydrant now. And then once you find that, we're gonna bend that left knee up towards the left armpit as you shift your shoulders forward, and then taking that left foot and literally navigating it as high up towards your left hand as you can possibly get it. Some of you will get stuck right down here, and I don't mean that as a judgment, but yet you will eventually have more flexion. Take your left hand, take the left foot, and move it forward, up between your hands. Reassess, heel toe the left foot so that it's touching the index finger and thumb, and then slowly lower your right knee. From there, you can use your yoga blocks as wide as your yoga mat so that everything aligns, so important to align, and rise up onto your finger pads. From here, lengthening through the crown of the head so your neck is still neutral, so you're not doing extension or dumping the head in flexion. Stay neutral. There's so much work involved. That's why it's a practice of exercise that's more cognizant. From here, hover the right knee up off the mat, blossom your bum, and then extend through the crown of the head. So now you're in a high lunge. I like to play with my feet so that I feel my feet are hip distance apart and aligned. This is where we're going to get into the juicy bits. Take your hands ahead of your left foot so that you can create a nice strong pyramid through your finger pads. And if you even need to reassess your left foot so that you can find that balance between your hands and your left foot, because now we're going to square those hips just like we did on the floor, keeping those right toes on the mat, extend through the crown of the head, and then start to lift through the inner right thighs. You square your hips. Now, if you're swinging your hips out to the side off the left, take your right toes back down and square those hips, meaning right hip or left hip goes back, down, and under, and lengthen through the crown of the head. All right, so from here, when you're ready, going to elevate that left leg and then come up higher onto your fingertips. So from your hips to your fingertips, you're creating a 90-degree angle. Some of you may have to go beyond your yoga mat, and that's the only thing with having tiny yoga mats or yoga mats that have a limited space. It is your sacred space, yet what we're performing here, or navigating, is a warrior 3, so 90 degrees, finger pads, come up higher onto your blocks, and squaring those hips. So I'm really playing with my hips. What does squaring the hips means? My hip bones are facing the floor. My neck is lengthening, neutral. Crown of the head is moving forward. I'm looking straight down between my hands, my blocks. And I'm playing with this full extension of this leg. So this right leg is not crossing over. I see a lot of that. that means your left hip is like gonna really feel it. You can bend the standing left leg. So play with this. You'll feel this tomorrow, trust me. And then from there, we're going to release the right toes back down onto the mat. So your feet and knees are hip distance apart. Blossom your bum, bend deep into the left knee, and then rising up into a crescent lunge. So bending the back right knee and feeling those hips once again and inviting that hug from the peripheral into the core of your pelvis. So feeling that energy of you just being present. So feet need to be hip distance apart. I know my bird's eye view doesn't really show that because it's just right over my head. Breathe that breath because now you're going to take it back into your warrior three. So forward folding, touching down onto the mat first so that you can navigate yourself into the most optimal position. And if you don't need the blocks to lift and to extend and to come into this prepped position first, pressing back through the balls of the right foot, the left knee can be totally bent on this one. And as you rise up, finding your balanced action through your warrior three. So that left standing leg is really active. Yet if you're swaying your hips, then I invite you to come back to fingers on the floor or blocks, finding that right angle and then squaring your hips so that you're not putting all the pressure in your obturator. Got it? This time we're going to take it down. Exhale, release back, the hands back to the floor, right leg to the floor, downward facing dog. And in that downward dog, you might feel that left hip. Inhale to plank. Exhale, bent knees. You're on your toe pad, slowly, mindfully lowering the knees to the floor. Plant or flex your feet, sit back. So simple, slowing down movements will create big differences deeper in neurally. So let's do the other side, tabletop. Hover the knees, find that breath connection. When you're ready, extend your legs, plank it. Feel those inner thighs lifting, tailbone lengthening, crown of the head moving forward, that's a neutral neck. Downward dog it. I like to come up on my finger pads to strengthen my wrists. It did take me about, a couple of years to get the strength in my hands. But doing this has helped me as a therapist to massage without insult, injury to my wrist, which a lot of people get carpal tunnel as therapists. There's no need for that. Just exercise your hands. Come up onto your right finger pads, lift the right leg up, bending and extending. And if I say anything that triggers you, I am not here to offend. I am here just to educate. And if my educational voicing is a little off, then I truly invite you to check in with yourself and see why. So bending that right knee and then bringing that right foot as close up towards that right hand. Some of you, again, won't make it up there yet, but eventually in time we'll get it up to that right hand. Reassess your feet so you're in this beautiful lunge position. Hands can go on the blocks in line with your right foot, creating the spaces of balance here. High lunge here. Good. So I like to navigate the hands ahead, creating that pyramid between the hands and that left foot. So you have to heel toe that left foot to find that dance. And then eventually taking flight with, and you'll notice my right knee bends to do this. So I'm taking flight with my left leg, lifting it up and feeling the energy of that inner left thigh working and activating and making sure that my right hip doesn't roll out, squaring those hips, reassessing my block so that I am now in a full-on 90-degree angle from my left or my right leg and my hands. So again, you might have to navigate yourself differently over your yoga mat. Like right now, I have to be half on, half off, which creates an imbalance in the blocks. So playfully finding your warrior three, bending and extending through the standing right leg and even toe tapping back onto the floor to maintain this squared pelvis without swinging your hips and then affecting the IT band and the obturator. So once again, we're gonna play with this here. See if we can land that left foot back down, lower that left knee, and then rising up. You're gonna take it from down and then picking that leg up. So I just wanted to do it a little bit differently from the other side. Wow. So feeling the roots of your legs and how important it is just to maintain this effort in your hips. So I like to lift and spread my standing toes, the right toes that are out in front. So I'm pressing through the balls of feet and I'm pressing into the balls of the feet.
and my toe pad's in the left foot. And then once again, taking it back down into a high lunge. So navigating your blocks as you wish, reaching up through that left leg, finding in your balanced own action away. Maybe the hands come up and maybe the toes have to go back down on that left foot. And if you lift that leg and you're swinging your hips, then you know that this is a optimal place for you to be. And I'm gonna stay here right now because I'm swaying my hips today. And this is a lot of work. I can feel my right hip, the gluteal flesh, the obturator, the psoas, everything is active here. So slowing it down, there's no more saying that you have to, you must go up and then fly in that. That's where the injury happens. So I see a lot of people doing this, literally. So take it easy, take it easy. Good, because when you're ready, exhale that left foot all the way back down, touch down, and move into a downward facing dog. Pedal your feet and then come into your shins for Virasana and sit back and take a deep breath in and out. You feel your hips already? Slow down. It's okay because it's going to get a little bit trickier. This time we're going to flip it. So I'm going to lean my bum to the side. I'm going to take my blanket all the way back for the occipital part of my skull because we tend to be in this chin up extension of our heads, like we're all in the future worried about it instead of being in the present moment, which is here, or in the past looking down. Okay? Neutral neck. That's what the blanket's for. So here I'd like to invite that we're going to move those blocks out of the way, and this time we're going to just do a little bit of a core connection before we lay it down and come back into the pelvis. So we did this in the last episode. Bend your knees, sitting up nice and tall through the spine, and notice where you're at with that one. You may and may not use a bolster, or not a bolster, a weight, kettlebell weight, or a block. I'm going to use a block today because a lot of you haven't been introduced to the weights yet, and please do not go that far if your balance is off. So feet, knees bent, feet on the floor, holding your hands together in Anjali Mudra, okay, and or a block or a weight. We're going to slowly teeter back onto the sacrum, so you are going into flexion of the lumbar spine, and then we're going to twist over towards the right, and it's that right hand that presses back up to center. Okay, so we'll do 10 on that right side. So you're twisting towards the right, and you're pressing the right hand up. For those that are a little bit more in that advanced state, that you want to lift your feet and squeeze your feet knees together, and twist and bend your knees to your right elbow as you twist, open up, and bring them back together. So about 10 on this side, okay? So you do you, you're pressing up with the right hand. So you're twisting to the right and you're pressing up with the right hand. You got it. Go slow. And if you're using the weight, you're pressing up with the right hand. You're pressing the weight up. Okay, a couple more. Where are you guys at? So from there, just really feeling it. It's an exhale as you come closer and inhale as you twist. Take a pause moment if you've done your 10, 15, or whatever you've done. Less is more. Be in the muscle. So you got to feel the muscle. Going back to what I began to say, feeling the muscle. If you're just throwing your energy out there momentum-wise, you are that much further from contracting your muscle and juicing it up. I see people throw weights around and throw their bodies around. It's momentum. We want to contract the muscles eccentrically and concentrically, consciously. Other side, so what it looks like, feet could be down, you're gripping the weight, or Anjali Mudra, you're twisting in your spine with a flexed lumbar spine towards the left and pressing up left elbow towards left knee. So that is connecting to your core, internal, external obliques. However you wish to do this, you are it. You're the light of the universe, and you are the point the universe is making. So how you choose to use your free will, your sovereignty, is yours. So inhale, twist, exhale, come together. About 10, 12, 15, whatever you're doing on each side, get into your rhythm, feel the muscle, no rushing. When you're done, exhale, and then we're going to take it all the way down onto the mat. So you're going to scoop the tailbone. Oh, here's the other thing I failed to mention. Please have with you a light block
spongy block. Every box store sells them. Please get out there and get one, or make one up of your own, light books taped together. So as we roll ourselves down, make sure that block is handy, and you can also use a folded blanket on your foot. That meaning saying is you fold your yogi blanket just like that. Okay, something soft in case it falls on your face. You want to lose your teeth. So from here, hugging your knees into your chest, and then extending your right leg straight up towards the sky, pressing through the balls of that foot, hug the left knee in and extend the right leg straight down. Dorsiflex that right foot, take your yoga block or makeshift block. Some of you are going to have to flex to get the foot there, or the hand to the foot. I understand. A lot of you, that's where you're beginning. So don't be discouraged if that's going to be where you're constantly working, is to get your foot neutrally in a, say, a standing position of Tadasana, which is the neutral. So we've got plantar flexion and then dorsiflexion coming down this way. Plantar, dorsi. So pretty much dorsiflexion, holding the block as if you're pushing your foot up against the ceiling, and that's a lot for a lot of you. Tight hamstrings, that means the knees bent, the heels above your hip bone. If you do not have tight hamstrings and you can lengthen that leg directly over your hip, God bless you. Feel that energy, you've got it. So from here, we're practicing just what we did standing to feel the power of our body, hugging from the peripheral. Open up your arms, navigate your shoulder blades towards each other, arms below the shoulders, make sure there's nothing in your roadway. Get that weight out of the way. Palms can be up or down depending on your shoulders and how they feel, because now we're going to experiment here. That left leg, we're going to move it down towards the right leg. So plantar flexion is not the foot position, dorsiflex. So you got to keep on flexing your foot to maintain the block or your makeshift block on it, knitting the belly button in and squeezing your inner thighs and keeping the alignment. So for a lot of us, this is where, wow, toning the belly button, and all this part of your framework is hugging in. So you're piercing the belly button towards the back of the spine, and your left foot is really working in dorsiflexion. That means your quads are contracting and the back side is lengthening, your calves. Yeah. When you exhale, bring it up towards the sky. Let's see if we can take it further over the crown of the head. No pushing. Some of you have to bend your knee to do that, to open up your inner thigh muscles. Those inner thigh muscles, do not push them open. I see so many people wanting to do the splits and just literally ripping their inner groin. Ugh, please, that is an observation. So once again, lengthen the left leg above your hip and then taking it as you inhale towards the right leg, left leg, right leg. So you're playing here, noticing. Slow it down so the muscles are contracting. You can feel the work here. And then when you're ready, after a couple of rounds of playing with that, bend your right knee, bend the left knee, take that prop off, shake out that left leg. Wow, eh? Connection. Therapy is so important. Where's the breath? Are you getting anxious? Then take a breather, hug both knees to your chest, rock and roll, move your limbs around. There's no big magical right way or wrong way, there just is, okay? So now let's test it the other side. Extend the left leg, hug the right knee in. So for a lot of us, extending the leg out into that full extension can pose some really discomforts in the lower back. So that means that your flexors are tight. So if you need be to keep the left leg bent and tone the belly button in, so the whole piece is that your lower back, lumbar spine is pressing down, hugging your right knee in. So this is education. If you don't want to be educated, well, this is not the site for you, then is it? That's an observation, not a judgment. How do you get your prop up there? That may be your practice. Keep on flexing and bringing that knee. If you might have to bring it up to the side to put it on, or if you have a yoga partner. I've done that in class before. Eventually, scissoring the legs in this position, which looks like Warrior 3 that we just did standing connection. From that, make sure that your foot, your ankle, your knee, and your hip are all in that alignment. You may have to bend your knee for tight hamstring people. From there, once you start to descend the right leg towards the left leg, the knee will straighten.
The belly must be toned continuously to make this the most optimal action that you're doing for today, mindfully with your attitude. So you're slowing it down. I really feel the works of my right foot, my quads to lower, and my abdominals. So we don't have to go so far. Listen to your body. And then when you're ready to take it up and over the crown of the head, no forcing it or trying to mirror what I'm doing. Feel it. So it's about feeling your muscles. I'm gonna have to bend this left knee today to really extend that right leg. And then I'm gonna play with extending my left leg to see where that little click like that. There's a little sticky piece and it happens to be in my left hip today. So once again, you're placing your right leg towards the ceiling, but you're also playing with flexion and extension of the right leg and noticing as you activate the spreading of your toes and the holding of that prop, keeping your legs hip distance apart. There's no right or wrong way. There's this cognizance. You want to make sure you're doing this without your hands. I was just reminding us to bend the knee if you need to. Got it? Good job, everyone. And then when you're ready to bend the left knee, bend the right knee, remove that prop. That's why it's light and fluffy, so if it falls, it doesn't hurt your teeth or your face. Wow, I can feel that when I'm ready. So thank you for doing that with me. Let's extend our legs. I will offer that we remove the blanket from the back of the occipital. Make sure you're on the fullness of your mat. This is one last little charmer for the coring in. Finding your mountain pose Tadasana, flex your feet so you're digging your heels down and squeezing your legs together, your inner thighs together, pressing the back of the skull down. You're gonna take your arms in full extension. Actually, this is extension. You're gonna tuck your arms tightly together so your shoulder blades come together, your chest lifts, but lengthen the tailbone and knit the belly button in and grab the floor with your palm, with your finger pads, base knuckles. Press into the back of your occipital so that your neck is neutral. This is really strong pose. Heels are dug in right from the peripheral, hands and heels. You could feel that in the back of your skull, you're in this mountain pose, straight line. Because now we're gonna elevate the hips by lengthening the tailbone. So as you can see, I could fit something underneath there. This is all core strength as you sip the breath through your nose. Get into your breath. Lengthening your tailbone, you're lifting your hips, you're squeezing your inner thighs, you're pressing into the back of the skull for say 10 seconds and then releasing your glutes. And you could bend your knees and release your shoulders. Feel that energy. Yeah, it's like squeezing and hugging. And when we do that, we release toxins out of the muscles, out of the gut. Use your breath. So that was one breath, but you can also do Ujjayi breathing, which is particularly really perfect, optimal for this one. Ujjayi breath is the oceanic sound through the sinuses, in and out. So you're not like Darth Vader, but we used to call it the Darth Vader breath, but it makes sense to most people. So heels, head, shoulders. When you're ready, you're so hugged in to the midline that when you elevate your hips, your legs are straight. The knees do not bend. You're digging heels, arms, hands, and head. And you're creating this bridge in extension of the pelvis. And you're squeezing those legs so tightly together, you feel perhaps your lumbar spine working, your erector spinae. Feel that for about 10 seconds and then release it. Bending your knees and coming out of it the way you feel like you need to. Because we're going to do that third time as a charmer, right? So today's practice is really slowing down and coring in. This is all preparing us for, just when there's like such unfortunate times of pain and trauma where we get tossed off our midline. And it's remembering and coming back to our core strength, to our sovereignty that is so important, that we are all here for a purpose. And even though there's pain, discomfort, and trauma, we still get to choose our disciplining of being present in our actions or our reactions, our responses or our reactions. So once again, find that. So it's quite a burst of energy right from the 4 points of your feet into the back of the skull, all feeling it in your lumbar spine, your inner thighs, your pelvis, your tailbone, your glutes, your shoulders. The back of the head is down for about 10 seconds using your Ujjayi breath. And then bending your knees and going, oh my goodness, Teresa. Hug those knees in, open up your arms like angel wings, and just very mindfully, playfully, drip your legs from side to side. There's no like right or wrong, it just is. Even though the contradiction may seem like, oh, well, Teresa, you said aligning and you must do this. Yeah, there is the beginning. We must begin in alignment, align ourselves so that we can venture out. When you're ready, you can cross your ankles, hold your knees, create a little fetal position like a seed, or you can roll to the side to press up. For those who like to practice the vertical roll, I do too. It really is not easy, so you keep your forehead as close to your knees as possible, and you literally create a very primary curve through all of the spinal parts and then come all the way out, however you wish to. So from there, I'm going to find my bolster and sit on it, crossing the legs, raise. And be in your body. Feel what we just navigated ourselves through. Thank you. Thank you for taking the time out and practicing. So sitting up nice and tall and then just swirling around in your spine. So there's one thing, there's aligning, feeling in your optimal alignment, and then there is the dance of it. So that is the Shiva, the Shakti, both. One is like that, and the other one is the. So putting it all together, that is you. You are the light. Let us bring our hands together in Anjali Mudra, prayer position, right at the heart center, and let us end this practice now with the sound of Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Take a deep breath in. You could close your eyes. Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. From my light to your light. Namaste. May you continue to practice, ask questions, always question things, doubt your doubts, slow down, love yourself. Love is the antidote for all of this pandemic. Be in your sovereignty and love. Love, 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 love. Don't worry about everybody else. Discern, discern, discern. Take care of this. I'll see you in the next episodes. Again, if you have any questions, feel free to email me. Then we can connect if you need to have a conversation or you want a private session. I'm here for you. Okay? See you then. Namaste, everybody. Keep on being real.